Ghana is a country of over 31 million people in West Africa. It's a country of various ethnicities, languages, and religions. As far as sports, you may know about Ghana's national soccer team, one of the most successful African countries in the World Cup. Boxing and basketball are also popular there. And as a former British colony, of course, they have cricket and rugby. Baseball is a minor sport in Ghana, but it has been played there for several decades. And though the sports market there is a bit crowded and mostly dominated by soccer, baseball has found room to grow in this country. It was first played in Ghana in the early 1980s by U.S. Embassy staff and their children. Naturally, the sight of this unusual sport attracted the curiosity of some locals, and before long they were invited to play with the Americans. Throughout the 80s, young Ghanaian athletes played with and against the Americans every Saturday. It wasn't until 1992 that baseball became an official Ghanaian sport. That year, the Ghana Baseball and Softball Association was set up by Albert K. Frimpong. A group of players was chosen for the first senior national team, and they were given the name Rising Stars. These were young athletes that had been practicing and playing with the embassy staff week after week over the years. Their first time playing abroad was in Burkina Faso at a softball tournament called Softball Fanatics Weekend Tournament, organized by the U.S. Embassy there. 16 teams took part, and the team from Ghana placed second, a great achievement considering it was their first international tournament. So baseball was off to a good start in the country. But years later there was conflict within the organization, and the first association collapsed. Albert Frimpong and a few others kept the sport going. Though the team trained for baseball, the only tournaments they could find were for softball, put on by the embassies of various countries. So they traveled to Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso to participate in softball tournaments. Inside of Ghana, they were able to find a team from the Cuban community to play against in the nation's capital of Accra. They also played a few friendly matches with a team of Japanese who were working in the country. It was at one of those matches that they met Shinya Tomonari. This is the same man who would later go to Tanzania and introduce baseball there. Tomonari was appointed manager of the national team. Later, he went back to Japan and came back to Ghana with equipment for the national team, and for young athletes around the country to use. It was better quality equipment than Ghanaian baseball players had ever used before. Tomonari's work in Ghana caught the attention of the Japanese media, and eventually a documentary about Ghana baseball was made by Fuji TV that was shown in Japan. 3 players from Ghana's national team were invited back to Japan for filming and training. They were fortunate enough to train with the Fukuoka Daiei Hawks, now known as the SoftBank Hawks. After that trip, the Ghana national team went to Johannesburg, South Africa to participate in the African Games for the first time. There they placed 4th behind the host country, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, and ahead of Lesotho and Uganda, with an overall record of 2-3. In 2019, they were one of 17 nations to take part in the African Baseball Championship, a tournament that was part of the Olympic qualifying process. In Zone West 1, they were grouped with Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Tunisia, and Ivory Coast. They failed to qualify for the championship, losing to eventual zone qualifier Burkina Faso by the score of 14-4. In the 2000s, the quality of equipment, facilities, and training received continued to improve, and Ghana Baseball has taken further steps toward bringing its program to the next level, as recently as this year. In February of 2022, the LA Dodgers announced a partnership with the Ghana Baseball and Softball Federation to develop baseball in the country, to give more Ghanaian youth the opportunity to play baseball in all regions of the country. If Dodgers in Africa sounds familiar, it's because the Dodgers are the same team that's been involved with baseball in Uganda. About 7 years ago, the Dodgers opened a training academy in Uganda, and just last offseason we started to see the results of that training. 2 players and 1 coach were signed and are now part of the Dodgers system. Another Ugandan ball player went to play college ball in the U.S. this year. If the Dodgers put the same effort into Ghana as they have in Uganda, it's very likely we'll see Ghanaian ball players in the minor leagues and in U.S. colleges in a few short years. They don't need a large number of players to make it work, just some young athletes with the right amount of potential. In May of 2022, the Ghana Baseball and Softball Federation and the Japan Africa Baseball and Softball Foundation signed a memorandum of understanding to develop the sport in Ghana. The Japanese foundation, known as JABS, will donate equipment, organize seminars for coaches, and exchange programs for both players and coaches, and host a national league called Ghana Koshien League, just like the one they're forming in Tanzania. So both the Dodgers and JABS are aiming to develop baseball and softball in Ghana. We can assume that the Dodgers' involvement will probably lead to a focus on training young athletes to play in the major league system, just as we see them doing in Uganda. JABS, run by President Shinya Tomonari, will concentrate on improving equipment, bringing more young players to the ball field, and operating a successful nationwide league. With a future league organized by the Japanese and players trained for the MLB system by the Dodgers, it looks like this country's young baseball program is in good hands. Presently, Ghana's national baseball team is ranked 71st in the WBSC World Rankings, tied with Iran and another African nation, Tanzania. Among African nations, they rank 7th, and 3rd in West Africa, a little behind Burkina Faso and Nigeria. So they've fallen behind a little, but the good news is that while in the early days of Ghanaian baseball they had trouble finding another country to play against, they've now got a few neighbors playing it at about the same level. And with the support they're receiving, they should expect to pass those countries in the coming years and set their sights on competing with Uganda, and maybe one day South Africa. They've had success on the soccer field, no reason to think they can't do the same with the right group of athletes in baseball. An organized national league will do a lot to maintain continued interest in the sport, though they'll have to deal with the fact that the country already has a variety of sports to play and watch. So attracting young athletes to the game will be difficult, and they'll have to make do with the small number of players they're able to bring in. Baseball's popularity in Ghana won't take off until they start producing players for the Major League system, and that will take several years. Anyway, that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.